welcome to our KW community, and today we've got Introduction to Piping with Paula from Charles and Violet. We're live streaming on Facebook and on Instagram, and we'd love your feedback about, we're trying a few different things and we want it to be the best we possibly can have for you. So let us know if you're hearing well, if you can see as well. We're trying to do a bit more detail today because it all happens in here. So let me introduce to you Paula from Charles and Violet, and enjoy the show. Ask as many questions and I'll try and get Paula to answer as many as she can. So welcome to Paula.
Hi everyone. Thank you for joining us. So as Joe said, we are doing Intro to Piping. So this is the very basics of piping techniques and how to fill piping bags and how to keep practicing basically to pipe really well. When I first started, I tell you, my piping wasn't great. So the only way to get it to a really high standard is to practice. So what I'll start with is our buttercream. I've pre-made everything so we can actually get going with this. The buttercream, we'll add links to the cupcake recipe and to the buttercream recipe as well. We'll add that in later. This buttercream is just vanilla buttercream, and what I usually do is I mix it up, recipes on there, and a lot of the butter that we get can be quite yellow. So, which means that when you are making like blue tones, they end up a little bit kind of greenish. So what I usually do is I add a little bit of violet gel colour. So violet gel colour is the one that says violet. Don't use purple or regal purple. Violet it is. Just a really, really tiny touch of colour into your buttercream and whip it up, and the purple counteracts the yellow, and what that does is it makes it a little bit brighter. Don't put too much because that will make your icing grey. But just a touch of that in your icing before you add any whitening agents or titanium dioxide or anything like that. Give that a try. So that's what we've done to this one. Mixed it up. Butter icing for piping, you always need a stiff icing. So kind of make it when you're going to use it. You can keep it overnight. You can colour them all, keep it overnight so that you can kind of, be quite productive the day you need to pipe cakes. So what I've also done is I've pre-filled a few of my piping bags, but I'm going to show you how to do one. So we are using a coupler, and what that is, it's a little plastic connector, 2 pieces, don't know what they're called, the innie bit and the outie bit. We're going to put that into our piping bag, pop that in. We need to trim that so that the end of it comes up to the treads. So it needs a little bit more. Push that through. You want a really, really nice tight fit. So once the inside part is on, you can add your piping tips. This is the coupler made for small piping tips. So what this means is once your coupler is attached, you can actually change your piping tips for your same colour icing. So say you needed to pipe some grass and some leaves, you could fill this with green, pipe some grass, take this off, put the leaf nozzle on and continue piping. So they are made for small, medium and large piping nozzles, so they'll fit what you've got. Okay, so once we've put this on, it's a bit crooked, let me fix it. Put that on there. We are going to turn our bag inside out. I'm using disposable bags today. You can buy nylon ones which you wash and reuse, but we've just got these ones today for our demo. We'll use purple for this one. So use your hand like a little holder. Put your icing in, scrape it against your thumb. This. Flip this over. So the outside of your bag is nice and clean and the top of your bag is really, really clean too, so it's easy to refill. Gather it up, give it a little squeeze. until your icing comes through, and then you're ready to pipe. So I'll show you this nozzle later, but what I'll show you as well is I've actually made up some templates. So these templates are so you don't need to bake a whole heap of cupcakes and waste them and then have to eat a whole stack of cupcakes. Just with a couple of circles and some big circles and some lines as well. So what that will do is we can actually practice our rosettes and our piping on here before we practice on our cakes. And the good thing about this is you can pipe it on, then scrape it off and reuse it, so you're not wasting anything. So we'll start with a couple of rosettes, and I've also got a dummy cake as well. I'll show you some other ideas for that. We have our different tips. So each tip has a number on them. The numbers vary through brands, so what I'll do is I'll just show you the tips to look out for, and we'll also add in the ones that I've used. We'll add that into as a link later. So this is a closed star. This is actually Wilton 2D, very popular one. So it has lots of long ridges and it's kind of clawed closed. So we're just going to start piping some rosettes. When I pipe them, we start from the inside of the circle, pipe a little bit, and we're kind of doing like the letter E around. In the center and letter E around. So as I finish, I kind of flick it all the way over. Let's do it on a larger one now. A little bit in the middle, pipe all the way around. So what I do at the end, I take the pressure off my bag and I continue the flick all the way around. So that kind of sweeps the icing and it joins back up. So the other one we have is it's a 2C. It's not a Wilton branded one, but it's similar. It just has more little ridges. So a little bit similar, shorter ridges, just more of them, more points. So we'll try it with this one. So you get more lines basically through it. So start in the center, press and sweep all the way around. And we have, so these rosettes, great for cupcakes. I'll quickly show you. So hold your piping bag, give it a good twist so the icing doesn't shoot out the top. Keep the nozzle nice and clean. So we're going to start on our cupcake. So start in the middle, pipe a little bit in the center, and then go all the way around and sweep it through. You can kind of build it up the top if you like. I don't like a huge amount of icing, but it's up to you really. So keep going, pipe it around. With our cupcakes as well, a little tip. So when you're baking cupcakes, to get them nice and even and really domed for piping, I actually weigh my cupcakes. So it's a little bit pedantic, but it pays off in the end. So the recipe that I've actually attached, I weigh this size cupcake, so your average size cupcakes, I weigh these at 50 grams. So I've got my scales, I put my oven tray, my muffin tray on top with the little piping cases inside, and I put 50 grams of mix in, and then I tear it, put 50 grams of mix in, so that when you bake them, they bake really, really nice and evenly, and they're all about the same sort of size. And these little ones are about 15 grams. So I will also show you this nozzle here. There are so many nozzles out there, so I'm just showing you my favourite ones for cupcakes and for cakes. So this one has lots and lots of teeth. So, and it's more of an open star, it's not a closed star. So this will give you a whole different sort of look. So we're doing a rosette as well. So kind of like that. But also great for piping straight up and down. So you can give it a little bit of a wiggle, and you kind of get, I don't know what that looks like, but it looks pretty cool. And we'll also use this one here. We'll do the same sort of technique like that. So you can pile it up and you actually get really nice flowy ruffles. So the lines on this are basically for shell borders. So we will use let's use our blue one. So to pipe shells, it's basically like a little kick and smooth down, a kick and smooth down. So we're going to go over the line, kick and smooth down, kick and smooth down, kick and smooth down. So it's a really, really nice addition to borders, so where your cakes meet, it's really cute to put that around and it hides all the seams. There is also a smaller nozzle, so this is like an open star as well. Lots of claws, but a smaller version. So larger version, smaller version, kind of the same sort of thing. Keep your icing nice and tight. Put your thumb over the end so your icing doesn't shoot out the top. And we're piping this down. So piping like little shells along the side, and you can actually do that on a cupcake as well. We'll use our big one. Twist it. So we're going to flick and smooth all the way through to the center, and then we can add a little rosette or something in the center. It's kind of like a flower. And bring in our dummy cake for a second. So this is also good for practicing. It's just a polystyrene cake. I've put it on a turntable to make it easy too. And we're going to do the same rosettes, the letter E that goes around, and we're going to do that on the side of the cake. So starting at the top, you can either go clockwise or anti-clockwise, whatever you're happy with. But try and keep it the same so your rosettes look even. Okay, so we've just piped 2. Just go across 3, 4. So readjust my bag. Okay. So when you do the next row, the rosettes will actually go in the middle of the other 2. So if you have any gaps at the top, you can actually use the same nozzle and fill them in just with some little, they're like drop flowers, so just little press and pull. Press and pull. Just like that. Okay, so you can imagine a full cake covered in that sort of pattern. Is really, really pretty, and it's quite easy. So once you perfect your rows with all your practicing on your templates, try it on the side of a cake as well. The other technique I wanted to show you was a ruffle. So this is a ruffle nozzle. It is kind of like a really long stretched oval, similar to a petal nozzle, but doesn't have that teardrop shape, more of an oval. So what this is used for is ruffles, I guess. There's a couple of different types of ruffles. I'll quickly show you one. So the other use of this template is to practice your ruffles. So the lines on this side, we're actually going to do the ruffle in between, and then we're going to do it on the dummy cake. So make your piping bag nice and tight. We're just going to go back and forth within those lines.
Paula, someone was just asking if you can use for those straight lines, what tips you can use. Can you use any of them? They may have missed what you said.
For just to do like the shell patterns, or just any sort of decorations?
Straight lines. So you're obviously doing a few
Oh, okay.
ones, yeah.
Just a circle.
Yes.
Just a fine circle. They start at 0 for like royal icing, then they go 1, 2, 3, 4 to 10. 10's a good one, I guess.
So straight lines, just a circle, but then you can also use just the other ones if you want all the different pretty patterns.
These ones would be for all the patterns. If you wanted to just pipe straight lines, I'd use a 10, I guess, a round 10. depending on what you're doing and how fine your icing is as well.
Great, thank you.
So this is your ruffle, back and forth. So that again on the side of the cake is very pretty, but I'm going to show you another one. So what we do is the angle of the ruffle nozzle, so it's angled that way. We want to keep it that way as we're piping. So let's just call that part the thicker end. We want that on the side as well. So I'll see if I can do this so it faces you. Let's see, we'll go this way a little bit. Sorry. Might even do it this way just so I can show you. We're going to try and pipe up, and I'm hoping it stays on here. So you don't need to pipe it in a straight line, just kind of up the side, and when you get to the top just smooth that off. So we're basically piping that. What we're going to do is pipe lots of ruffle lines next to each other, and once it's all done it actually looks like fabric. So angle that. So up close. Doesn't have to be exactly the same. Up the top. See, like that. And we'll do as many as we can. So it kind of looks like folds in fabric. So you can, I'm not going to do the whole cake, but you can imagine what it would look like, even in white. So really just simple white icing on a cake would make a beautiful wedding cake.
So someone's just asking Paula about doing that on a real cake. Like, is it much different to the polystyrene?
Probably a little bit easier because this is moving around a little bit. Yeah, you do it whatever way helped you. It still need to be on a turntable because it makes life a little bit easier. But yeah, you could kind of tip your turntable in whatever sort of position makes it easy for you to pipe these ruffles up the side.
Yep, great.
Easy as, thank you. So I'll do a couple more.
I'm just going to pop in here.
Yep.
So a few of you were asking about the templates. They are on our blog. You can download them, the templates that Paula has been using.
Or you can make your own.
Yeah.
All I did was I drew some lines on paper and traced my cookie cutters, then backed them and laminated them so I could reuse them. So that's basically it for that one. So you get my idea. So if that was a helpful design, please send us an emoji so we know that that you liked it and it was helpful. So just imagine that all the way across the cake. You can do kind of ombre patterns, all sorts of other different things. We'll do a couple of ones for the top of cake. So the little shells that we did earlier. Great for finishing the tops or bottoms of cakes. Let's do little shell. This is actually a Wilton 32. Do little shells on the bottom. So it's a lift and flick down. Lift, flick. And we can also do what they call drop flowers or stars. So let's do them on the bottom as well. So this is just a press and pull motion. So press, stop pressing the bag and pull. Alrighty. And a couple of designs for the top of your cake. What we did on that cupcake with the open star. It says 195, but it's not a Wilton brand. So if you can find anything with open star, lots and lots of points, that's the one to use. So press, give it a little bit of a wiggle, and up. And if we continue it, you actually get really nice sort of shapes like that. So you can either do like a little mound or a bit of a wiggle wiggle. Okay, so that's with the open star nozzle. Let's have a look. This is our Wilton, the same one we did this one with. Drop. So I'm not even wiggling that, and it's already just flowing naturally into beautiful ruffles. Or we can do stacked rosettes on top. Alrighty, so let's see what else I was going to show you. I might actually show you some roses. So we had a lot of people ask for piped roses on cupcakes and other things like that. So let's bring our cupcakes in. And for roses, you obviously need a rose tip. So we've got our ruffle tip on here. So to change it to a rose tip, we're just going to take the top of our coupler off. Remove that one and add our rose tip. So our rose tip looks similar to the ruffle tip. Rose tip is like a teardrop, where a ruffle tip is just like a really stretched out oval. In saying that, you can actually pipe roses with a ruffle tip. So put that back on. Give it a nice squeeze. So it comes out the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to pipe it on a cupcake first. Get this one here. So keep it nice and tight. And you want to squeeze from the top. You don't want to start squeezing from the middle, otherwise your icing will shoot out the top of your piping bag. So we're going to pipe just a little bit in the center, and we're actually going to wrap this around while we turn our cupcake. So we want to create like a little volcano, a little mountain, which is going to be the center of our flower. That looks a bit rough. Probably the two cupcakes and Barocca that I've had. So what we're going to add now are the petals. So it's ideal that we do 3, 5 and 7, but whatever fits on your cupcake. So teardrop, the thickest side down. We're actually going to go up and over, like a little rainbow sort of motion, up and over like that, and then up and over again, overlapping the previous petal that we just did, and up and over again. So that's the center of our rose. And the next lot of petals, exactly the same, just starting in the center of the previous petal. So up and over, up and over, and I've actually angled my piping bag out just a little bit so the flower opens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that was 5. We'll try for 7. So that underside looks quite rough. We can always fill that in later. So next lot. 1, 2, oops. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I think I got 6 on there, but that's okay. So if you see that your rose looks a bit uneven, just add another petal in to help it balance. So happy with that, I'm going to add some leaves in now. If you wanted to leave it like that, but you want to clean up that rough edge, all you do is you kind of pipe one really long petal to wrap the underside. Like that, and that covers it all up. Okay, we are also using this leaf nozzle, which is Wilton 366. So this nozzle, you might have seen it if you've bought sets and not known exactly what it was. So it's kind of like a little, like a flat nozzle with a V shape cut out of it. If we hold it the wrong way, we're actually not going to get anything. So if we hold it this way and start to pipe, you're just going to get weird lines. So we actually hold it the other way so that we can see the point. And as we press it and we pull, it creates a leaf. So depending on how quick you press and release, depends on how large a leaf you'll get. So a really quick one, so that's really tiny ones. And if you want a big one, you can wiggle and jiggle it a little bit more, and you get kind of like a nice shaped ivy leaf sort of thing. So we're going to add that underneath. So get our nozzle, stick it right underneath your flower, press and pull, and press and pull. Okay, press and pull. Alright, I might just add one more on this side, and that's it. So it just kind of fills it in and just finishes off it a little bit. So I'll also show you, if you've ever seen these in the stores, this is a flower nail. So it's a little metal disc on a nail. So what we do with this is we actually pipe a rose onto it and take it off and slide it. You can add a little bit of baking paper on there if you like, or you can do it straight on. We're going to use the same piping nozzle. Clean it up a little bit. It is a bit tricky, I'm not going to lie. My first rose was not perfect. We're going to actually spin this with our left hand. I'm right-handed, so I'm piping with this hand, spinning it. I'm going to spin it clockwise. So what we need to do is get our brain to coordinate our left and right hand, and as we're piping, it's going to spin clockwise so that we can keep piping the petals on. So we're going to do the same thing that we did on that one. Start with a little mound in the centre, and then we're going to wrap it around with our petal nozzle, angled in a little bit to create our little mountain base, like that. And then we're going to add our petals over, sorry. So 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to add our 5 petals. 1, 2, 5, and then 7 around. So what I'm going to do with the last layer is I'm actually going to angle this out a little bit more so that our flower opens up. So 1, 2. So if you find this is kind of going a little bit flat, that means it's actually getting a little bit hot in here, and our icing is getting hot. So what you want to do is keep your icing nice and chilled. So that's how you do this. You actually remove your little baking paper and pop it in the freezer. Then you can stick it onto your cupcake. So I'll do another cupcake with this and rest this into here. Yep.
A few people are asking for your buttercream icing. We will post it online, but do you know your quantities?
What I do, I make a huge batch, so don't make this giant batch. I use 1 kilo of icing to 500 grams of butter. I actually use salted butter because cupcakes are so sweet already, and you're adding quite a lot of icing sugar. So to balance it out, I like having that salty flavour in there. You can use cheap butter. I would spend my money on the good quality vanilla if you're going to make it. So it's 1 kilo of icing sugar or icing mixture. If it's the lumpy sort of icing sugar, you need to sift it. Otherwise, the little bits of icing sugar are going to get caught in your nozzles, and then your piping won't be perfect. A splash of hot water if you need it. That's usually on colder days where it kind of just needs to mix in a little bit better. Soften your butter, so leave it out an hour or so before you're going to make your icing, and just add your icing sugar a little bit at a time. Don't add it all in, because when your mixer starts to mix it around, you could be wearing a lot of it. If you've got a handheld mixer, you can still do it. Just needs to be beaten for a little bit longer.
Someone else is just asking how many times can you use the buttercream, practicing and scraping, is it a refrigeration thing?
You can use it, you can refrigerate it. Again, it just depends on the heat. It's really, really hot days here, so if you find that your icing is just not piping right and getting a really bit oily, that means it's getting too warm. So use a little bit in your piping bag at a time. And if you do refrigerate it overnight, you'll need to take it out, just like the butter, soften it and re-whip it. And then you can use it again. Because, yeah, it needs to be stiff buttercream icing.
Great. And also, just one more question. If people are asking, just they may have missed them, but are you able to just show them quickly, and we'll try and get some details of just the different names of the bags? Is that
the bag of the tips?
Sorry, the tips.
Yep,
yes.
Sure. The ones I've got, I'll actually just show you the pattern of it because the tip numbers vary a little bit. So if I show you the style that you're after, then when you look for it, it might be a bit easier. So let me clean them up so you can see. I might actually just give you the tip numbers as well, Joan. You can add that to
that'd be great. We'll add that to the templates later.
So mine are all Wilton. Some of these I did buy online, so they're actually different numbers or they're not numbered at all. So this is the closed star. So it's got, how many points? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I think it might be 11, possibly 11 points. This one for rosettes we did, and we did it for shells as well. So that's that one. It's a closed star. This one is also a closed star, but sorry, my icing's gone over the number. I said it earlier. If anyone caught it and remembered it, they're happy to post it down below. This one will give you the Ruffles. This is also a closed star, but has 6 points. So this is a 6-point closed star. It's like a little claw. Okay. This one is an open star. It is Wilton 32, a really popular one. And that one there, we did the shell border with that one as well. And great for tiny rosettes. So what we can do with this one too is little rosettes. Little rosettes like this. And our cupcakes. Okay. Thank you. This is actually a grass tip. I haven't shown you this one yet. This is Wilton 233. So what this grass tip is good for is grass and animal fur. So I keep moving it around, getting in trouble. So I will pipe this on a cupcake and show you. Cupcake. Can I move now? So this can be a little bit tricky. So we want to press and pull, and it actually comes out like grass. I'll show you what happens. So it comes out looking like this. So it works well for like spaghetti and stuff like that. So we press and then we pull. And you just do little dots kind of next to each other. Kind of flick. Takes a little bit of practice. If you squash one section, you can build it up again, just with more piping over the top. So you can imagine, so teddy bear fur, Easter cupcakes with grass and Easter eggs and things on it, nests. So if you wanted to do a nest, you'd basically just squeeze it all out and like make like a nest shape with this. Yeah, it's a pretty good one. It's mainly for specific stuff. You wouldn't want to pipe rosettes or anything with this. So that was Wilton 233 for the grass nozzle. Thank you. This is the ruffle nozzle. This is a Wilton 406. So this is the ruffle nozzle. It's quite a large one. And this is the one that we did down the side of the cake, the piped buttercream ruffles. So, and I'll do some of this on a cupcake as well to show you. So you can do ruffles like that. So quite high. And we can actually add in, we've got some beautiful colours here, so we'll add in a couple of other bits and pieces. while we're here. So these cupcakes are really on trend. Really on trend at the moment. There we go. Where it's all different ones, then you add some sprinkles onto it. So it's like rainbow sort of decorated cupcakes. Okay. Thank you. So this is the leaf nozzle. Wilton 366. So again, it's the one with the triangle cut out of the flat nozzle. So we'll pipe some more leaves on here for you. So the pressure, so a little bit of pressure, you get little leaves. Lots of pressure, you get larger leaves, and you can give it a bit of a wiggle while you're doing it. Press and pull, and you kind of get like it just makes little patterns in the leaf as well. So a really nice one to have. You might actually have these in your sets and not actually know what it's for, so that's what it's for.
One of the ladies was asking about rainbow icing. We probably don't have time to talk too much about that today, other than you said last week that was a good thing.
This is good. It basically splits your icing bag into 3. Do we have time to do the rainbow one or not really?
We've probably got 5 more minutes.
Okay, I might actually show you a really quick, because we've got some colours. I'll quickly do a rainbow one for you. Let's move this out of the way. So I've just put a open star nozzle in here. It's a 1M open star. And what we're going to do is get a piece of Glad wrap and actually pipe some lines onto it. So, where's that rabbit? So, a little piece of Glad wrap. And you don't have to do rainbow colours. You can do like 2 colours alternating. Whatever you've got, but we've got some beautiful colours here today, so I thought I might as well just use them up. So pipe or spoon lines of colour down your plastic. So I'm only going to do it in one section so that we have this side and that side to roll up together. Okay, like that. Do some white. It's always nice to add white into it. It makes the colours pop a little bit. Add a couple of lines of white, and I think that's all our colours. We'll add a little bit more pink just to bulk it out a little bit. Okay, so what we do is we wrap this plastic over. So we kind of want to make like a tube of colour. Close up one side, and the other side we're going to trim just to the start of the icing, and we're going to pop that into the bag. Okay, make sure it's nice and open. Open up our bag. So if you are making more than, say, 4 cupcakes, you'll need to make multiple bags. So pick up your little icing sausage, pop that in, all the way to the bottom, pull that back up, press that down. My bag's quite small actually, but that's okay, it'll still work. Push the icing till it comes out of the tip and we start piping. So each of them are going to be slightly different as the colours mix together. We're just going to pipe rosettes. Okay, so like that. I might do one with smaller. So as the colours all blend together, you get some really cute patterns. So that's it for me. If you found this helpful and useful and you're going to use some of these tips that I've shown you, please send me a thumbs up emoji at the bottom and I'll get to it. And if there's any questions that haven't been answered, we'll try and get to those too. Okay, here's Jo.
Ask you a couple of ones. So
Oh no,
someone
Jo's
was-
asking questions.
The buttercream,
Yep.
when it comes down the side, if you have no coupler, should it come down? Like they're saying, how do you stop that from happening?
What do you mean comes down the side? Or-
As in between the nozzle and the side of the bag. Does that happen or it shouldn't happen?
What do you mean if it kind of splits through here?
Cut too short?
It's yeah, maybe too short. It shouldn't. I just change bags. These are loyal bags. They're really nicely finished and they're quite sturdy, so you can push on them. It might be the bag or it might be
We've
something
also
else.
had some interesting Russian tips, but I think we might need to save that for the next one.
That's a whole other class. That even I'm not a huge, not all around that. I'm not 100% sure how that all works, but I will try and practice.
Great. So, don't go too far away. Hopefully you have seen some stuff that you can go and practice on. We'll have it on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram as a recorded version, and we will put up as much information that we haven't done already with the templates, the recipes and any nozzles and tips that we can help you out with. So thank you so much to Paula. I'm going to say goodbye. She can say goodbye as she's the star of the show. And
Bye everyone. Thank you for listening and hope you enjoyed it, and hope you do some piping and send us a picture if you do.
oh yeah, hashtag KW
Oh,
community,
hashtag-
or tag us in, like link us in, and we'll
Yeah, link us in either Kitchen Warehouse, KW Community, Charles and Violet, I see it. And yeah, always keep in touch and see how your piping goes. Thanks for watching.